Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down, sometimes they make us feel real good, and sometimes they cause internal havoc. Today we're speaking with hormone nutritionist Celeste London. Welcome back. I'm your host, Andrea Barrett. Welcome to 360 Wellness. Today, we're talking all about hormones, a topic that comes up a lot. People have lots of questions. We know we have hormones, but a lot of people don't really understand what that means, what they do, how to control them. So today, we're in luck because we have an expert. Celeste London is joining me this evening. Hi, Celeste. How are you?
Hi. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. How are you doing? It's been a long, long time.
Yes, it has been a while, it's been a long while. But yeah, I've dived into this hormone health stuff, which is really amazing.
Okay, good. Well, we want to hear all about it. But first, tell us, how have you been coping during the pandemic? What are you doing for self-care, and what have you been doing in the last 14, 15 months?
So for me, I work remotely at home. And because of working in the industry with health and having a job and working in my business, for me, my business did get recognized throughout the pandemic. So I was one of those fortunate ones. When I showed up live, I consistently kept vlogging about hormone health. First, I was showing up on Facebook consistently, and I would receive a phone call at the end of the video asking for information and help on hormone health. So that was an eye-opener that I actually tapped into something that people are actually wanting to pay for. It's not just a business, but people actually want to pay for that kind of help. So basically what I did was educate people on what are hormones? They're the chemical messages in the human body that flows throughout our bloodstream. And it's our endocrine system. And our hormones are responsible for so many things: our sleep, our mood, our appetite, our libido, right? And as we age, as we know, after the age of 40, our hormones fluctuate, because we're not paying attention to our health the way we were before. For women, estrogen drastically decreases. When estrogen decreases, there's an imbalance in the female hormones, which is estrogen and progesterone. And so things go out of whack. You get weight gain, you have issues like PMS, PCOS, Hashimoto, all kinds of havoc symptoms happen to the body because of having a hormone that's out of balance. But we can get it back to a state of balance, and we can do it naturally.
Okay, that's good. Now, a lot of people don't realize that. So we just had a lot of information there. Thank you for sharing all of that. So I believe in a food first mentality, and then supplements second. And then there's also medication. There's also room for medication. There are people that are having trouble with their hormones and are supplementing or getting a prescription or getting any medications. The program that you are suggesting, is that something that can be complemented through holistic treatments, healthier diet, and with supplements?
Well, first of all, if somebody is on the medication, you don't want to interfere with the diagnosis of what a doctor diagnosed a patient. That we cannot interfere with. Where we can intervene by helping the person or the client to understand this is how to eat foods to overcome the health issues, and then wean that person off to not rely on the medication anymore. Of course, the doctors are not going to like us very much, but that's the end result goal, because the end result goal is to teach people what are the right foods to eat based on their nutrition deficiencies to optimize the body with nutrition, and obviously adding supplements. But when somebody's on medication, we have to separate when they take the medication separate from the food, because there's something called a food drug herb interaction, and they can have a drastic, nasty effect on a person when they're taking drugs at the same time that they're choosing to eat certain types of food, especially when it's food medicine.
Right, and I believe in food medicine. So what is the biggest complaint that people, let's say, give me an example of one of your case studies. The biggest complaint that, let's say, women between 40 and 50 have when they come see you?
So the biggest complaints for women is menopause. That's huge. Menopause is huge. And for some women, they end up going into menopause because some women have something called a hysterectomy, which is a drastic surgery. And when you've had a hysterectomy, basically they've taken your whole ovaries out of your body. And when that happens, you are immediately in menopause.
Okay.
And depending on your family history, yeah,
You're saying immediately. Once that happens,
immediately.
immediately. Okay. So even if you're 25, you're 19,
You're in menopause
okay. All right.
if you've had that kind of surgery. Because you need to have your ovaries and you need to have your reproductive system in the female body, right? Because that's why we have the reproductive system in the woman so that you can menstruate. And when you have a hysterectomy, you're not menstruating anymore. Everything is taken out of your body. So right away, you go into menopause mode. You're not even in perimenopause. You're actually in menopause. You didn't even get a chance because menopause, usually it's 12 consecutive months of not seeing your period.
Yeah.
So that's perimenopause, right?
Yep.
And then you go into menopause when you know 12 months has gone by. I haven't seen my cycle. So now I'm actually in menopause because you don't see your cycle anymore.
Right.
And you didn't get a chance to go through the stages of menopause when you have a hysterectomy.
So now, what are the biggest complaints that you hear that your clients or people are experiencing when they're going through menopause? Because I've heard menopause in North America, for example, is not the same as menopause in other parts of the world. Women are experiencing it differently and for a wide variety of reasons. So maybe you can explain some of that for us.
Well, in the North America, there's a lot of hot sweats. There's a lot of weight gain issue because people have been very, I guess, they haven't paid attention to the fact or pay attention to their eating habits. So the belly fat is a major complaint when it comes to menopause, right? They're uncomfortable. All of a sudden, you have this slim body and you have this belly fat around your belly area, and you're like, where did all this weight come from? So the number one complaint for women when it comes to hormonal imbalance is the belly fat, males and females. And they want to know how to get rid of the belly fat.
Yes, and usually they want to know how to get rid of it quickly. So two questions. Can you get rid of it quickly? And what sort of suggestions or advice you have for women dealing with menopause?
So for women dealing with menopause, we have to figure out, obviously, the estrogen has drastically decreased. So there's different things on the market where you can get your hormones tested. Right? For me, I use the advanced testing where you do the urine test. That's the one that I use.
Is this like peeing on a stick?
It's a kit that you purchase. And then they they mail it to you. And then you would do a urine sample. And it tells you different hormones that are out of balance that you would be paying for.
Okay, let me stop you right there. Let me just stop you right there because I know someone is furiously grabbing their phone or their computer or something. How do they get this kit? They just heard Celeste talk about this kit. They need this kit. Is this something they can get through you or a pharmacy?
How do they can get through me?
Okay.
Because you're able to get a discount when you go through a holistic practitioner. You're able to get a discount. You can go on the website, but if you go through me, you get a better discount.
Okay, people need to hear this right now. How can they get this from you? Because people
you would contact me and we would have a consultation. You tell me what your hormone imbalance issues are. Based on the consultation and the things you are complaining about, then I have to provide you with the right hormone kit for you. So for example, if somebody's complaining about stress, I have to get them the cortisol kit. PCO, if they have PCOS and etc. If they have adrenal fatigue, I have to provide them with the right hormone kit based on the hormone imbalances or whatever the doctor, whatever they say to me that's going on with their hormone health imbalances.
Okay, we need a website or an email address or a phone number because the people want to know how do they get their hands on this kit.
So you can see my website. It's thecelestelondon.com. So that's THEcelestelondon.com. And there is information on the hormone kit and the information you can go. You can also book a consultation with me through my website.
Okay, that is excellent. So I hope everyone just wrote that down. You want to book a consultation to see Celeste, find out more about how she can treat you, how she can support you, and provide some recommendations. And you want to go to her website. Repeat that website again one more time, Celeste.
So it's thecelestelondon.com.
Okay, perfect. All right, so generally, what are some of the the ideas or suggestions you have when you're working with somebody with menopause. What foods do you encourage them to eat? What foods do you encourage them to stop eating? And what sort of
Yeah.
lifestyle changes do you suggest that they make?
So for the lifestyle changes for a lady going through menopause, definitely staying active and finding a physical activity that you like,
Okay.
especially if you're somebody who's been sedentary. So maybe dancing or walking. Walking
Yeah.
is, studies say that walking is a very good physical activity for women,
Yes. Walking is
right? So making
amazing.
sure at least 5 days a week, you're doing some sort of physical activity, 30 minutes minimum.
Right. I think that's very important. And as you know, we've all been locked down for months upon months upon months.
Yeah.
So those of us who had a regular fitness or exercise routine or used to go to the gym, haven't been able to do that. But walking, just, go outside your house, your home, your condo, your apartment, go put your running shoes on and just go for a walk. 15
Yeah.
minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you can do. You want to like swing your arms, walk briskly. It will help with your mind, your mental health, weight loss, and as Celeste is suggesting, will help when it comes to working with any menopausal symptoms. What else do you
Yeah,
suggest in terms
sure.
of lifestyle or food?
So for the lifestyle, you want to get rid of those white granulated sugars, the white processed flours,
Yeah.
anything that is refined carbohydrate stuff. You need to focus on earth-friendly foods.
Ooh,
So 90%,
earth-friendly foods. I love the way you describe that. Earth-friendly foods. Can you give us an example of
yeah.
what you call an earth-friendly food?
So, the kale,
Yeah.
right? The dandelion greens,
Yeah.
right? Dandelion green is very good for the liver
Yeah.
because sometimes you have liver toxicity. There's something called radicchio. We call it radicchio in North America. It looks like it's the same relationship to the cabbage family.
Okay, so round, a little smaller, red, so like a
Round,
cabbage,
small,
but
rooted
smaller.
white
Yeah.
cabbage.
You'll
Yeah,
find this where you find your bok choy and your
yeah,
Savoy cabbage and your regular
yeah,
cabbage in your produce section. Round,
yeah,
purpley in color, and a little bit smaller.
yeah, yeah. Very liver friendly food.
Okay.
So I focus on eating foods for the organs inside the body so that
Okay.
we can get rid of the toxicity through food. So when you eat these type of food like dandelion greens, kale, bok choy, things that are green, then you're helping to clean up the toxicity, the uncleanness inside of your body, and at the same time helping to balance the body to get back to a place of balance or homeostasis, as they say, right? And it's a lot of, like I said, earth-friendly food and optimizing it with supplements. But I
Okay.
always recommend food first because when you do the supplement, some people think when you supplement does not mean supplement food.
Right.
You have to have food as the foundation.
Right. And you and I, as nutritionists, we both run into people who want to eat,
Yeah.
no offense to the cheeseburger and like the diet soda, but you can't supplement your way out of a cheeseburger and a diet soda. No offense,
No.
fast food restaurants. So it's important to eat these earth-friendly foods and then you
Yeah.
supplement. Can you give us an idea of some of your favorite supplements when it comes to menopause?
So for maca is big for women.
Can you say that again?
MACA.
Say that one again.
Maca.
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 Mm-hmm.
Maca is a very big on hormone balancing for women.
Okay.
And there is maca specifically for women and specifically for men.
Okay. Now, why is that? Isn't maca maca?
No, because of the hormone imbalances that the woman is dealing with at that time and stage in her life. Women have PMS, men don't have menstruation. So
Right.
they have to make the maca supplement geared towards the gender differences.
Okay, so I hope everyone paid attention to that. So she's talking about a supplement that's called Maca,
Yes.
MACA, and she just
CA.
said there's one that is geared towards females and one that's
Yeah.
geared towards males. So
Yeah.
visit your healthcare practitioner, reach out to Celeste and book a consultation, or speak to a representative at your local health food store or grocery store or pharmacy.
Yes.
Can you give us one more? Give us one more supplement that
So
you
taste,
suggest.
I think it's called Vitex, Vitex. That's
Yeah.
very good for the menopause stage.
Okay.
Um, Another one, the very common one is black gohash for the
Black
nights.
cohosh.
Black gohash,
Okay.
right? That's a very typical recommended one for the night sweats and the discomfort of not getting a chance to sleep because you're experiencing night sweats.
Yeah.
But just an FYI for women who are going through menopause, for women who don't like to exercise, when they say that there's a 80% decrease of night sweats or experiencing night sweats when you choose to when you choose to be physically active during your menopause time in life.
Okay, stop. I need you to say that again because we hear this all the time. I remember hearing my mom complain. I heard my aunts complain. There were like memes made about women sweating buckets and drenching up the sheets. So I need you to repeat that again. And everybody
Yes.
who is currently experiencing menopause, who
Menopause,
is
yeah.
unable to sleep,
Yeah.
Celeste just gave you a tip that was worth about $1.5 million. So I need you to repeat that again. Just think of the relationships you could be saving, the
Yes,
families you could be
exactly. There's
helping.
an 80% chance when you choose to do some sort of physical activity. And for these are the women who don't like to exercise, when you choose some sort of physical activity, then you have less experience of night sweats. So your
Less
chances of
experience.
having night sweats is less.
Okay, now, so you're saying put on a pair of running shoes,
Yes.
or whatever you want. Walk barefoot in
Sweat
your backyard if you
during the
want to.
day.
Just do
Hmm.
something and start moving. I
Do
think of
something, even if it's
movement.
dancing for
Yeah,
30 minutes, like
exactly.
salsa, zumba,
So
right?
exactly, which you can do at home in front of
Yeah.
the TV or in the kitchen or wherever you want. I feel like movement is my medicine. We need to
Yes.
move. It makes us feel good for so many reasons. If you are going through menopause, you just heard
Yes.
from a hormonal, holistic nutritionist that simply exercising, making small changes to your diet, making small changes to your lifestyle and your routine, that means,
Yes.
well, you may not have to change the sheets as often, or you're not
No, you
drenched
won't.
when you wake up in the morning. It'll help you. There are so many, I feel like, I loved how you call it earth-friendly foods. There are so
Thanks.
many ways and things we can do naturally and for free to reduce any sort of health condition that we're going through. You're saying walk
Yes.
or exercise. That is free. That is free. So
Yeah.
that is something that I encourage anyone going through any hardship or physical discomfort. Take Celeste's
Hmm.
advice. Give her a call, book a consultation so you can learn more on how she can help you with menopause. Now, can we talk about men for a moment? Do you also work
Yes,
with
of
men?
course. Yes, I'm getting male clients now, which is really nice.
Okay, now men, do they have any hormonal issues? Or is it just
They
women?
do. So men have erectile dysfunction, right? Just like how for women they have low libido, men have erectile dysfunction. So they're not, their little boys don't function very well, right? And they also get abdominal weight gain around the belly area. I mean, we call it the bear belly,
Yeah.
but they do get that discomfort in them as well, right? Some men get more breast, men get more estrogen as they age. So they kind of lose testosterone and they get more estrogen as they age. But you can get your testosterone levels back by eating certain kinds of foods. Like spearmint is good. A lot
Spearmint,
of people
okay.
don't realize spearmint tea, right? And there's just things for the prostate, like zinc, like pumpkin seeds is very good for men.
Yes.
To eat organic pumpkin seeds. That's very good for men. Focusing on omega-3 fatty acids for
Yes.
both males and females because of the memory, right? When you're in menopause, it causes you to have brain fog and memory loss, and
Yeah.
you're in a temporary zone of like, what's happening to my brain? How come I can't remember things?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So she just gave you some great tips there. So zinc, pumpkin seeds, you can have even pumpkin seed butter. It's something you can make if you have one of those high-powered blenders. Put your pumpkin seed in there, turn it up high. You'll get some
Yeah.
oil, make your pumpkin seed butter, replace that wherever you're using peanut butter, almond butter, or cashew butter. And I like to put pumpkin seeds, or I tell my clients to just sprinkle it in their food, in their salad. Put it on, rice or
Yes.
vegetables, steamed vegetables. Just throw a handful in whenever. If you're having trail mix or you're making your own
Yes.
granola bars or,
Mhm.
whatever you're having, throw them in liberally. Zinc
Yes.
is great and pumpkin seeds are quite high in them. And what was the other
And
thing that
chew
you
very
mentioned?
well. Chew the food that
Yes.
you're eating because it's called food medicine. But if
Yes.
you don't take your time to consciously eat the food medicine, then the cells in the body can't absorb the nutrients that you need to be feeding the cells in your own body.
Right. Now, Celeste, I've heard people ask about estrogen levels in men. Is there anything that they are doing unwittingly that is increasing the amount of estrogen in their body? Can you comment on
Soya,
that?
soya.
Okay.
Don't consume soya milk, soya products. Anything with soya increases estrogen in men.
Okay.
So stay away from
Even
soya.
organic soya.
Even organic soy, I don't recommend for men to take.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it produces a lot of estrogen in the male, in a man, in a boy.
Okay. So you
So stay
advise
away
your
from soybeans. Yeah,
okay. So you advise your clients to stay away from
I
soy
do.
products.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's turn our attention to you for a moment. Tell us about how you've been coping during the pandemic. What have you been doing for self-care, and
Mhm.
what has been the experience like for you?
Well, for me, I've gone into this new dance because I like to dance, and for my physical activity, I choose dancing.
Okay.
So I found this YouTube where I'm doing this Asian dance, and I sweat a lot. I sweat like a bucket. And there's this belly dancing that I'm doing. So that's what I've adopted lately. I'm doing
Okay.
a lot of belly dancing stuff.
So you're
And
learning online. You're going on
learning
YouTube.
online,
Yeah.
yeah, some belly dancing techniques. So that's what I've
Okay.
been up to kind of keep myself positive and happy and not get, depressive, anxiety and stuff like that. So that's what I've been doing to keep positive through the pandemic.
Okay. And have you found, has your diet changed over the last 14, 15 months? Either the foods you've been eating, the quantities, the times you're eating them, anything about your diet that has changed during the pandemic? I heard someone today say during the
Mhm.
pandemic, the average American has gained 30 pounds. So I haven't fact checked that yet, but usually we're not too far off from where our US cousins are. So if Americans
Yes.
have gained 30 pounds, it's quite possible that
Yeah.
Canadians have gained 30 pounds. Zipping up and down the roads were a lot of
Mhm.
food delivery companies bringing food to people's
Yes.
homes because we couldn't go into restaurants and patios weren't open. And we heard in the beginning everyone was baking bread, lots and lots of sourdough
Yeah.
bread, and you couldn't find any yeast and you couldn't find any flour. We also ran out of toilet paper. But people have been baking and cooking and
Yes, they
snacking
have
and
to be.
stress eating. What has it been like for you? How has your diet changed?
Well, I have a cheat meal.
Okay.
So I allow myself to have a cheat meal, not a cheat day or not a cheat week, a cheat meal. But you have to be selective in your cheat meal.
Okay.
So because of the holistic, so what is a cheat meal? A
Mm-hmm.
meal, for example, maybe you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So when you have a cheat meal, maybe you're having something like ice cream or chocolate, but the healthier version, the healthier kind,
Okay, so
right?
there's healthier ice
Like
cream?
there is healthy ice creams
Of
out
course
there.
there is. Yes.
You can
So,
make it at home as well. Like I use a lot of banana
yeah.
and I will use cacao, or
Mm.
I also have my nut milk, so I will add milk to make my own ice cream.
Okay. Now
That's
that sounds
guilt-free
good.
ice cream. People think because you're healthy, we don't eat like a rabbit. We indulge in our indulgences, but there's
That's
a
true.
way to healthy indulgences.
Yeah, I agree. I eat ice cream. I eat brownies, I eat
Yeah.
cake, but we have the healthier version. We choose
Yes,
healthier ingredients, things that are low glycemic with
yes,
high in fiber that just taste good and are really nutrient dense. A really good piece of dark chocolate, you only need a
oh,
square and maybe a square and a half instead of eating and
mhm,
devouring an entire chocolate bar. So there
exactly.
are ways to remain healthy, have a clean diet, and
Yeah,
still indulge from time to time. So your
yes.
your cheat meal, is it a daily cheat meal? Is it a weekly cheat meal? How does this work?
No, like for example, like I might have a craving today where I feel like I'm craving ice cream.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make sure that I satisfy that craving by focusing on, okay, so I ate maybe one or two meals for the day already, and then have the satisfaction of maybe adding some granola. So there's a way how I mix up the meal. So the way a cheat meal, a healthy version of a cheat meal would look like
Mm-hmm.
is you might have some trail mix on top of a good quality coconut ice cream or something like that,
Mm.
and then you eat that, and it allows you to get and satisfy all your taste buds. Maybe you're craving chips, so you get a good quality chip that's very low in sodium,
Mm-hmm.
that's very high in fiber, and you would have a hummus dip or a guacamole dip. So that's the selective, healthier version of indulging in what it is you're craving but it's guilt-free cheat meal because it allows you to satisfy your taste buds and at the same time have a healthy version of the cheat meal.
I love that.
You don't deprive yourself.
Yes, that's right. We don't believe in deprivation, Celeste or nor myself. Really, why? We want to eat well and fuel our body and nourish ourselves, but we
Yeah.
do have these taste buds, and sometimes we need to have things that, have nice mouthfeel or make us feel
Yeah.
good. Like doing this show and talking to you just makes me hungry. I want some coconut ice cream with some granola
Yeah.
on top. I want like
Yeah.
2 scoops of coconut ice cream with some granola
Exactly.
and some cacao nibs on top. Is that's what I want?
Yeah.
And then a little later, I could have some guacamole with some like clean, healthy chips or some flax chips or something that's high in fiber and that's just tasty. You'll be surprised. You won't want to
Mhm.
eat that stuff that we typically tend to buy conventionally in the
Yeah.
store. You're going to want to
Mhm.
reach for, I love this phrase, the earth-friendly foods. I've
Yeah.
seen plantain chips. There are yam chips, sweet potato
Yeah.
chips. There are chips you can make at home. Do you ever make any sort of chips or treats at
I like
home?
to make kale chips.
Kale
I
chips.
make cassava chips.
Cassava
Cassava
from the
chips is very
islands. Cassava
from
chips.
the islands. Yeah, cassava chips.
Okay. You
Yeah.
mind sharing
And
your
of course,
secret for the
plantain
cassava
chips
chips
is a
with?
common one.
Would you mind
Cassava,
sharing your secret for the cassava chips with our audience?
yeah, so you would just cut up, take off the skin of the cassava,
Yeah.
right? And season it to whatever, usually I use Himalayan sea salt or the Celtic sea salt. This is medicinal sea salt, not the
Nice.
regular the iodinized sea salt you see in the grocery stores,
Yeah.
right? Because they have medicinal properties to those two type of salts.
Yeah.
And you can just add black pepper if you don't like black pepper. You can have dill. You can have cumin. This is different types of spices that are really good to add and sprinkle onto your chips. Put it in the oven, let it bake for until it's golden and it's, you're able to eat it and you enjoy a good quality homemade chip and you satisfy that craving of you're less likely gonna want to go out and buy a really bad, horrible chips.
Yeah. That sounds
And
good.
you can look at the horrible chips like Doritos, for example. You can make one at home. You just make it homemade and add your own spices and ingredients on it, and that becomes a healthy Dorito.
Yeah. I think it's because people either don't know how, and really the reason we like some of the foods we like out there is sometimes it's the seasoning. You too can make this at home. Visit your spice rack at your local grocery store or your bulk store. Just experiment with different flavors, like you mentioned, cumin and rosemary and thyme and nutmeg and jalapeno and chipotle and cayenne. Experiment with different flavors and different seasoning and different types of salt. You just talked about Himalayan salt and regular white iodized salt. There's different types of salt in the grocery store, at the health food store, and in the bulk section of your bulk store. There's pink salt, there's gray salt, they're in different sizes and textures. Play around with it, and like she said, cassava. You can get a mandolin or maybe a super duper vegetable peeler. Just get it to the thickness, the consistency that you like. Do you soak the cassava before, like leave it soaking in water, or you just pat it
I let
dry?
it soak. I let it soak
Yeah.
depending on how the texture of it, because cassava is very dense,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you need to soak it and then scrape off the skin and then cut it up using mandala. Or if you're you like to use your hands, it's easy to use a mandala, cut it up in the shape that you want if you have that machine. And you have some nice homemade chips.
Crispy and some
Yeah.
seasoning. Okay, and do you also make kale chips? I love
Yes.
kale chips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kale chips is very easy.
Okay, bring it on. And everyone get ready. Write this down. What
Very
is
easy.
this?
So buy a bunch of kale, go to the grocery store and take your kale. And kale is on the stem. So take the leaves off of the stem and then soak, and of course you wash the kale first. And then once you've washed it, drain it off, the excess water that's on the kale. And then what you would do is you would add lemon juice. Some people like to use olive oil. You could use coconut oil, depends. Obviously, sprinkle some salt, right? And whatever spices you like. I have a kale chip that I like to make where I make bell peppers into a sauce, right? So I grind up the bell pepper. I add my own spices in the bell pepper. Just blend that up and I sprinkle that onto the kale chips and bake it. Take it out of the oven and I have this orange looking kale chip I just crunch it up and eat it. And sometimes I put it into a salad.
That sounds yummy. I welcome any viewer that feels compelled to make some kale chips for me.
Yeah.
Or make some cassava chips. I know that Kenny, the owner and the producer at GB Cam, would also not be opposed to anybody sending some kale chips and cassava chips his way, because you know, he doesn't always get all his meals in. But that sounds delicious. That sounds really delicious. Okay, so my next question for you has to do with stress. So as nutritionists, we're people as well, and the pandemic has been difficult, and we've all had trouble or different experiencing managing our stress levels. What advice do you have, and how have you been managing your stress?
So one of the ways to manage our stress with food is you can supplement with ashwagandha. It is one of the #1 supplements on the market to deal and handle stress.
Okay.
That's for food medicine protocol. If you're somebody that likes to meditate, like blanking your mind, it helps for you to not produce anxiety and depression around the circumstances of your life when it comes to stress. Because there's a lot of studies behind the benefits of meditating.
You know what, Celeste, I've heard that and I believe that and I know it to be true. I can't meditate. I'm a go person, and my brain doesn't quiet down. It doesn't quiet down. Give me some tips. How to meditate? Sit in a quiet room?
Sit in a quiet room, playing some meditation music.
Okay.
So the kind of music that you're going to listen to, if you're open to the idea and never tried meditation before, you have to listen to music that makes you feel a sense of calm.
Okay.
Right? Like I have a singing bowl healing background.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. I hide some of my stuff.
Tell us about that. What does that mean? Tell us about that.
I have a singing bowl healing. So I have the singing bowl that I help people for their hormone health imbalances. Yeah. So I play the singing bowl for you.
Right.
And people, what is the singing bowl? The singing bowl, there's two kinds. There's the crystal singing bowl and there's the Tibetan singing bowl. And it's a brass singing bowl made from brass material, and it's handmade. And when you hit the singing bowl, it produces a vibrational sound that's able to bring tranquility and peace to the human body.
Okay, so you play that, or you
get
the sound from it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then you suggest, so sit in a quiet room.
You would lie down. So obviously I did it through Zoom through the pandemic. So they would be lying down somewhere, maybe they're lying on their bed. And all they do is just listen. I tell them to empty their mind. Don't think about anything. Try to blank their mind. And if a thought comes, let it go. And just focus on the sound of the singing bowl.
Wow, I'm gonna have to set up a session with you. My mind doesn't go blank. There's like a gazillion things to do. I remember once I told my dad, I was like, oh my gosh, I have 500 things to do. He said, just start with one. And that comment just sort of calmed me down. Just start with one. But I love what you've just described. So this sounds like your secret sauce. This is what makes you the hormone health nutritionist that people should be visiting. Can you give us, again, tell us how people can find you and what the consultation or booking process is like?
So you can talk to me for 15 minutes for the consultation, just to educate and find out what your hormone health imbalances are. And you book that through my website on the calendar link where you would book an appointment. And I let you know how my program works and what are the results you can expect from working with me. Okay. The only complaint I've ever had from a client working with me is my program is too healthy.
Your program is too healthy? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Her complaint was, you're too healthy. And I work, so what makes me unique is we all have different, in Toronto, Canada is the meetup place. And we have every single ethnic, anybody from any part of the world is in the city.
Yeah.
So what makes me unique is I focus on where the person is from and turn where they are from into being holistic.
Okay.
So I don't focus on you need to be holistic, you need to be healthy, eat like a rabbit. No, not everybody wants to eat like a rabbit. because you have your own ethnic background. So I focus on what is your ethnic origin way of eating and how can I make that holistic.
Okay, that is good. That is very important because you shouldn't have to give up foods from your home country to make healthier changes. If you're from the Caribbean or you're from Ghana or you're from Israel or you're from Pakistan, whatever foods that you grew up with, that you like, that are comforting, that are part of your culture, you should continue eating them. That is something that I wish we could incorporate more into our healthcare system. Because when you go into hospital, I feel like everyone is getting pretty much the same diet and the same menu. If you want to eat some rice and peas and jerk chicken, or you want some palau, or you want some pierogies, whatever it is that you want, you should be able to get it within limitations, of course, because you want to make sure that it is giving you enough nutrients and fuel to keep your body going. All right, so before we wrap up, I'm going to ask you for 2 tips. Anybody out there listening that wants to know more about their hormones, or either 2 foods they should reduce immediately or 2 things they should add immediately, what advice do you have for them?
So for the 2 foods you should reduce and eliminate immediately is the white processed sugar and all refined carbohydrate foods, all the white processed stuff. These are 2 things you should eliminate immediately. The 2 things that you should add is omega-3 fatty acid and your greens.
Oh, greens.
Lean green machine.
Yeah. Okay, and the omega-3s, which I love, everyone knows that I'm a proponent of omega-3 fatty acids. Are you looking for liquids? Are you looking for capsules? Are any suggestion or guidelines when it comes to omega-3?
I focus on the person. If a person, when they communicate and they're talking to you and they're not able to absorb things well, then I'm going to recommend the liquid.
Okay.
If they're okay with absorbing things, then I'm going to recommend the jelly. Some of them have the jelly ones.
Yeah.
Then those ones are easier to absorb because everybody's digestive system is different. So I focus on serving the client based on how they absorb food.
Okay, as you should. So I see there's a lot of similarities here. So as nutritionists, we both agree you need to get rid of refined processed foods and you need to add more of the good stuff in. So during this show, you've heard a lot of great information, and I hope everyone reaches out to Celeste, or if you know anyone struggling or having any issues with their hormone, please reach out to Celeste. And we've heard a lot of great suggestions today. By no means is she telling you to go to the health food store, grocery store, or your favorite, or online and pick up every single supplement she just talked about. That's not how this works. It's unique and it's customizable to you. So if you are looking for help and support with hormone health, reach out to Celeste. With pre-diabetes, reach out to myself. But it's important to meet with a nutritionist and get a consultation. And the best thing that makes Celeste so unique and valuable as a hormone holistic nutritionist is testing. She will give you a test kit. She will, provide you with a kit where that's how you start. You need to know what's off. Is it your cortisol levels? What hormone is off? So I encourage everyone to reach out to Celeste London, the hormone holistic nutritionist, for more help and support. There's no need to suffer with going through menopause or any sort of condition that you're going through now that is hormone related. Ask for help. And Celeste, I'm so glad you were able to join us today. Could you please give us your website one more time so that everyone can take it down, because I want people to reach out to you who need help and support.
So it's thecelestelondon.com.
All right, you all heard it here on 360 Wellness. Celeste London at say it again for me.
thecelestelondon.com.
thecelestelondon.com. I am wishing you all fantastic health, especially great hormone health. Celeste, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so nice seeing you again. I can't wait till we can see each other again in person. Reach out to Celeste, book your consultation, and you'll get on your journey to great health. Thank you for joining 360 Wellness. I'm your host, Andrea Barrett. Please visit our website, download our app on the Google Play Store or on iOS. Visit our website, support us, follow us, like us, tweet us, share us, GBKM Network. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, welcome to ZFM's exciting summer program. Last year, the children learned awesome ways of making animation videos. Let's give you a sneak peek of what the children learned last year. This year, we have some exciting programs for this summer. The first program is the cartoon character rigging. This program will teach